We're live. Hello and welcome to episode number 125 of WP Café, the show where we share the real, unfiltered experience of running a WordPress business. I'm Keith Devon, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mark Wilkinson. We're from Highrise Digital, a tiny agency building WordPress websites and products. And today, we're going to ramble on for as long as we normally ramble on for, but we're going to talk specifically about color systems. It's something I've been working on this week. So if you have a cup of tea or coffee, I am brewless today, so I messed up and didn't get my coffee in time. But yeah, grab a drink and settle in with us. We'll have a chat for the next half an hour or so. You can follow us over on X at WP Cafe Show. Find us on Blue Sky and the web. That is wpcafe.show. And as always, if you enjoy this episode, please do like it, even if you don't enjoy it. It just helps the algorithm. And subscribe if you do really want more stuff like this coming through in your feed and not to miss any future episodes. And as always, if you are joining us on YouTube live, please say hello in the comments. It's always really nice to see who's here with us today. So, Mark, how have you been? It's been a few weeks since we did this. What's been happening?
It has, hasn't it? Yeah, we've had a few days away on a Friday, which meant we couldn't do it. And then we've had not a lot to say sometimes, so we just haven't bothered. But it's been, I don't know, it's been a bit of a bitty few weeks, really. Lots of nothing meaty to get into in terms of work. Lots of little things, little jobs, little support things, a few annoying bugs with things that have kept lingering with Job Relay and things like that. Jobs not posting for reasons unbeknown to like one client or something, but we're working our way through them, which is difficult, but we'll get there in the end, no doubt. But we've had proposal sent this week, which has been exciting. Got had a good call with a potential client, so who knows. We'll see if that comes off. So with that, I sent over today, but and the weather's nice, which is always good.
Yeah. The weather has been
How about
nice.
You?
Yeah. What have I been up to? Went to France last weekend. That's one of the reasons we couldn't do the show on Friday. Went to watch the Tour de France. So saw some very fast cyclists whizzing by for split seconds after waiting for them for 2 hours. So. But it was really fun. So did a lot of riding, rode probably cycled about nearly 220 miles.
So you cycled to where the tour was?
Yeah, so we got the ferry because I live near Dover. So I cycled to the ferry, cycled from the ferry to our hotel, and then on the Saturday cycled to one of the points where we knew the tour was going to come through.
Yeah. And
then once they'd gone through there, we cycled to another point where they were going to come through. So we had to kind of race them to this next point. Our route was a lot shorter than theirs.
I was going to say it must have been, yeah.
Yeah, and then on the Sunday, we saw them at the top of a climb near the finish. So yeah, it was really good. It was really fun. Lots of cycling, lots of free stuff thrown out. So in the tour, obviously you've got a whole load of fast cyclists cycling along, mostly together. But like an hour and a half or so before that, there's a caravan of sponsors, vehicles, basically. And it's like I don't know what the best word to describe it, like a carnival kind of like floats going past. So all these trucks are all like properly decked out in like the branding. So there was like giant strawberries going past and stuff for the local supermarket. And there's people on them like throwing out free gifts here, like t-shirts and key rings and stuff. So that's almost as much of an attraction as the actual tour. Like loads of people come out to see that bit. It's kind of fun.
And what goodies did you get thrown out then?
I didn't get very many. I was in the wrong place every time. My wife, on the other hand, made absolutely sure that she was getting goodies. She has no shame, that woman. So she was chasing things down and all sorts. So she came back with all sorts, hats and t-shirts and
that doesn't surprise me.
No. But yeah, super fun weekend. But yeah, work-wise, I guess kind of similar. Yeah, we've got that proposal out. We still haven't heard back from the school one that we spoke about weeks ago on the show. That's still kind of in progress. So we've got this new one out, which we can talk about a little bit. What's that?
I don't think it's a dead one. I think
it's not dead.
It's just delaying things, I think, at their end for whatever reason.
Just haven't made a decision.
Yeah.
And then I've been getting on with modernizing one of our clients' kind of designs and trying to kind of bring the block editor and site editor and stuff up to speed on that project, which has been in some ways really good. And certain things have been really, really easy. So I enabled all the dimension controls and block gap and stuff. And there was a little bit of pain around block gap specifically, but by and large, that was probably easier than I thought it was going to be. And then, as we've talked about previously, getting all our blocks up to API version 3 is just kind of impossible with ACF. So that's
I'm not
frustrating.
Sure that's going to happen. Yeah.
But then I've been working on some of the new design stuff. So fun doing some stuff that I actually enjoy doing, some front end kind of work.
Yeah, it's good. That grid you showed me this morning, just being able to do that in the block editor is like really cool.
And I saw that design, and I was like, "How are we going to do that?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, I could use a background image on a group, and I've got border controls, and I've got border radius controls, and I've got I can use a stack, and it's all, and the grid block and everything. All of that was native, which is pretty amazing.
And it's good, isn't it? Because once you start building those things, and the more of them that you do, so you then can look at designs and in a different space and think, I could do that with the block editor, because I could do, like you said, I could do a group and then in that background another group inside it and so on. And it's quite interesting what you can achieve without anything else. Sometimes you just get stuck though, don't you? And you have to have a custom class or something to be able to just add that little bit extra that it won't do. But
there's some design bits coming up where the whole negative margin thing, I was like, oh yeah, I could use negative margins. And then I was like, yeah, but they're not responsive. I can't turn them off on mobile. So I don't know how I'm going to get around that. I might have to create some custom class or something for that particular pattern.
We'll come up with a solution, no doubt. We'll find something.
Yeah, kind of frustrating. But fun to be kind of in that world again, I think. Good. But
Hi, Paul. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're well.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. But I kind of guess it leads us on to, I guess, what I sort of wanted to talk most about today which is kind of color systems. So this is for the same project. So as part of their kind of, it's not a full redesign, but we're introducing some more stuff to the design and kind of redoing the homepages and stuff. There's some more colors than there were before. So previously we had basically a primary color, secondary color, and then some shades of gray to choose from. And this client has about 6 websites now, and they all use the same theme, so the same color system. So we let the client add a primary color and a secondary color in the customizer. And then we do that in HSL, and the reason I did it in HSL is that I can then kind of darken those colors on hover without them having to add a hover color as well. So I thought, I'll use something like HSL. So that works. That works reasonably well.
How come you can only do that with HSL and not with a hex? I don't know.
Well, how do you darken a hex? What value do you turn up or down? So with HSL, basically, I created custom properties. So I have a primary color H, primary color S, primary color L, and then I just need to change the L value, and everything else stays the same. So on hover, I just change the L value.
Right. So
that makes sense.
Hue, saturation, and lightness. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with hex, I can't separate those things out. They're all kind of bunged in together. I mean, I'm sure there's maths you can do, but you can't do it in the browser.
No, but the hex must mean something, mustn't it? As in, if I change the last digit from a 1 to a 2, it must change it slightly to a darker. I don't know how that works, but it must be some sort of.
So there's basically 3 sections to a hex code. So it's if it was FF0000, that's red. Because the red channel, which is the first 2 digits, is turned right up and the others are turned right off.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how it works. And so white is FFFFFF because all the colors are turned up full, and black is 00000 because all the colors are turned right down. So, but you can't manipulate that in CSS.
Yes.
Except for there is a color mix. Oh, Terry's talking to me. there's a color mix function in CSS now, but sorry, my goodness, I don't know what was going on there on my phone. There's a color mix function, but the browser support for that is not great. Mark has just mentioned that you can use CSS color mix these days. You can if you want your colors to work for 93% of people, but I worry about the 7%, because especially with colors, I don't know. Potentially, there's a fallback color that I could use there, but where does that fallback color come from? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and if I'm having to manually insert fallback colors into the system, I may as well just get the client to insert all the colors.
Yeah. What would it fall back to if you use color mix function and it didn't work in a browser?
I actually don't know.
Can you set like in CSS? Can you set like, I don't know, like background color red, color mix, and then the color mix overrides the background color, and then the browser just ignores the color mix and sets
yeah. That would probably be like background red and then background color mix red with white, and it would presumably ignore that. But then I need to start setting those kind of rules for everything. So I was just like, I didn't fancy doing that. So the challenge was now, instead of a primary and a secondary color, I have a primary color with 2 tints, a secondary color with 1 tint, so like a 40% white, and a tertiary color, which is like in one of the brand's cases, like a dark green. So we've now got 6 colors. And what I was hoping to do was just get the client to input the HSL for the primary, secondary, and tertiary, and then I could create all the shades off the back of those with color mix. Initially, I thought, oh yeah, I'll just be able to do this with HSL with lightness, but it's not just lightness. Whenever you're like creating tints and shades, you're not just changing the lightness value, you're also changing the saturation value, and the calculation for that is actually quite complicated. So it wasn't something I could just do in my, as far as I know, it wasn't something I could just do in my CSS. Because it is a true color mix. Like whenever you're tinting something, you're mixing it with white. Whenever you're shading something, you're mixing it with black.
Okay.
You're not just dialing up one part of the color.
Interesting.
So it's a bit of a shame. So in the end, in the customizer now, you've got 6 colors to add instead of 2. But that only needs to happen once. Yeah. It's not something that the editors need to worry about every time. We just set this up once for each of the brands, and then they've got their new color palette in the editor.
So what happens for the existing sites in the network, because they still only have 2 colors, because we're not, obviously this new design is going to be working on just one site to start with, I assume, or is this being, I can't remember what we're doing now. We're rolling this out to every homepage, or just one homepage? Because obviously, if we roll this out to one homepage, then it'll be there for all the other sites. So will they still continue to work with the 2 colors?
No, they'll have all. I think I haven't crossed that bridge yet, but my thought is that when we publish this, we're going to have to add all the colors to all the sites in that instance, and whether they use them or not, and like whether they've moved over to the new homepage design and using those modules or not, the colors will still be there and they'll be in the editor from that point on.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Colors are hard. Color systems are hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Like once these functions are available, like if I could have used color mix, the CSS function, oh my god, my life would have been so much easier. The other thing about color mix, I think, is that I don't think it works particularly well with custom properties. There was something about it, or maybe that was the SAS mix function. I can't color mix function, but one of them didn't play nicely with custom properties as well. So,
what was the 7% that you were? Was there a specific browser, or what? I just wondered.
I can't remember. It's spread across various ones, isn't it?
Right.
But that was specific to the UK, so it's not like, coverage globally was 91%, I think.
Right.
So UK was slightly better, but there's still plenty of people. And we've had it before, Mark, where we've made that decision. And it turns out that it's, Safari on iPhones that are only 3 years old.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
And that's enough of a pain to make it.
I guess it depends what the fallback would be and what the fallback would look like. Because you can sort of accept sometimes that it's fine to use it because it's 93%, because the fallback is actually fine. It's not as good, but it's fine. And obviously,
But what would it have been?
I don't know. Yeah, I
Because I was
guess you did.
thinking, like, so I've got the primary color and then a 20% and 10% of the primary, so they're quite light shades. I can't default back to that primary color because if they've used the light background, they're probably using dark text, and then there's accessibility issues.
Yeah, it's
So,
a difficult one, that, isn't it? I think you've done the right
yeah,
thing. I think you made the right decision.
yeah. So that's the way we've done it. Like I say, it's only painful right at the start, and then it's done.
Yeah.
It's not quite as flexible as I'd like, but yeah, it's coming together. It's
Well, the other
new
thing,
design's cool.
we've done this in the customizer. Obviously, we had the customizer when we first started this project, and the customizer isn't supposed to be, well, isn't supposed to be used going forward. That's the wrong phrase, but the idea is that we don't use the customizer anymore, isn't it? We use full site editing. So where would you do this in full site editing? Would it be in the global color palette?
Yeah.
But you can't do HSL in there, can you? Or can you?
I don't know. If you can, that is the way I should do it.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. It
just got me thinking, because as we're making a change, now would be the right time to move it from the customizer, wouldn't it? I know there's still other stuff in the customizer.
Question.
Also.
So
we've still got all the settings in there, but
styles. Let me just quickly check styles. We've got a very limited version of. We don't actually have the full site editor on this site.
No.
I don't think.
No, not to templates and stuff. It's all
it's still a bit of a hybrid site.
Hybrid, that's the word I'm looking for. Theme, yeah. It's got block editor things, but it doesn't use HTML templates, does it? It uses PHP templates still.
Right.
So it's not quite full site, full site editing.
It would be nice to kind of fully modernize this, wouldn't it? Because it would last another. I don't know, because it's reasonably old now.
2021 was it? Or 2022?
One of them.
Might be 21, I think.
The tech is about 4 years. Well, we have been updating it, but it's kind of about 4 years old when we started. So, yeah,
still running. Yeah,
still running. Yeah, it's not bad. So that's kind of that.
Good.
Yeah, good. I guess the other big thing this week was our proposal, and really. Really great inquiry. It comes in and you're like, right, this is a proper inquiry. This isn't just spam. This isn't, a rubbish project. This is one that we should be trying to win. And it's a recruitment agency. So it's,
it's nice that they saw our previous work as well.
Yes.
And contacted us based off the back of that previous work.
Yeah.
So I think that has a bit more weight to it sometimes when they're so like, we want
100%.
that or something like that, or we get it. You can deliver this for us almost. So we're coming to you.
Well, yeah, because you haven't just Googled WordPress agency UK. We wouldn't come up for it anyway. But they haven't just Googled like WordPress agency UK and been like, I'll send this same inquiry to the first 5. They've actually
who Googles anymore?
We've seen work that we've done. I haven't done an AI search for that to see if we exist. Probably not.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it.
So we had a call, didn't we, with this potential client, which was good. So we tend to just do those calls where it's, well, there's certainly for the start of it, it's just like brain dump. Tell us about this project, talk to us about it. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? What's going on, type thing. And then they talk for like 5-10 minutes, don't they, and so on, and we get a good idea of what's going on and who's doing what and so on. And then this particular client, they actually had a slide deck that they posted with the inquiry, which was nice, and that outlined what they thought the problems with the current site was and the sort of direction they wanted to go in with the new site, including, which was good, like features and functions that they wanted it to do, functionality. By no means was it the greatest slide deck ever, but it certainly helps. So what we tended to do then in the call is we looked at some of the areas in that slide deck, like, talk to me a bit more about gated content, for example. What do you mean about that? And then we got some more information about that. And that's the sort of way that the initial call went with the client. Seemed really nice people that you could get along with and work with. And then from there, what did we do next? Oh, you sent an editor demo then, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because we felt in the call, we didn't really get across the fact that we build this thing so it's like completely editable by the client. So
I don't know how much weight that is going to have, just because they didn't really talk a lot about editing during that conversation. So I don't think either of them are particularly experienced at editing a website. So maybe they don't actually know how painful that can be and how good what we all like the solution that we deliver is. So I don't know if that carried loads of weight, but I think it's always good to see what you're going to get. Like,
yeah, definitely.
So it kind of takes a bit of the risk away that they're like, oh, right, okay, so that's what this experience is going to be like for us once we start adding content to the site. I just winged it. So I recorded it. There's a tool called Supercut, which I'm using, and it's a kind of like AI integrated.
It's a bit like Loom, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit like Loom. Yeah, and you've got some nice options that kind of like cuts out the kind of frame of me if you want that, and you can like reposition, and then it adds like chapters to everything. It is very
it's
like
quite
Loom.
cool. Yeah,
so,
I like it.
Yeah, so I've been using that, and I just did a single take. Like I didn't even plan it. I was just like, I'm just gonna dive in and show you our work and how it works and stuff. I think it was all right.
I think they're often better though than like a pre-planned, pre-recorded, scripted sort of thing. It's just like
feels more natural.
Feels more natural. Like I'm doing this for you. For it's not a video I've got off the shelf that I just send to all my clients. It's like this. Yeah. I just literally thought I'd record this for you, and it was more personal, which I think it came across as much more personal and to them. So I think that's good.
And then yesterday I also put together the proposal. So we do it differently every time, don't we? Like we've got some sort of templates, but like I just kind of wing it, and I like a bit AI assisted as well. I find like ChatGPT is actually pretty good for this. So what we did is I fed the transcript of the call into ChatGPT along with the notes that I made during the call. And then did I add anything else? And then I basically said I need to create a proposal for this project. Can you give me an outline and a draft? And it was just like did it. And I changed it because there were some bits that were missing. I added something that we haven't added before, which was I just wanted, because they're not familiar with WordPress, especially, I wanted to make sure that they knew like what WordPress does give you, like out of the box is pretty amazing. And what my thought process there was, other providers, especially in the recruitment space, they quite often have these big long lists of features. You can control users, you can add as many pages as you want, you can blah, 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 blah. Like all these things that we just completely take for granted and that we never even put in our proposals because it's just like, well, yeah, of course you get that. But I kind of wanted to put that. Yeah, I wanted to put that laundry list of stuff in.
You go onto like the pricing pages, don't you, of these services, and then they've got that lovely table where it's like you do this and this, tick, 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 tick. And like we think, well, that's ridiculous. Like your WordPress can just do all of that, but they don't know that. I suppose you're right. Yeah.
No. So I did that as well. So I covered the kind of core objectives and features that we spoke about, and I said, and by the way, you'll also be getting all this stuff. Just comes as a given. But it was long. It's a long document in the end. So
not that long.
Once I spaced it all out, it was about 12 pages, 13 pages. I think
it's quite long. Yeah, because it's not.
It is quite long.
It's not the specification, is it? That's just the proposal.
Yeah,
like it's not that we're going to build this. It's going to be that's just a proposal.
I think that would be pretty close to the specification. I don't think you'd expand on that.
I see your point. Much. Yeah. I see your point.
And again, like, what is a proposal if it's not the specification? In a way, I was talking to Mark actually about this morning, and he does this very, very differently. He gives a very, very brief proposal, if you would even call it a proposal, and he basically says, "This is going to be like a medium range project for me, which is in the region of X." He gives a like ballpark number. Like we'll do a discovery session at the start, and then if things change, it'll go up and down based on that. But in my experience, that kind of budget is pretty close. And we've moved away from that. We used to do that, and the guys in the call this morning that I was talking to, they're like, "Why? Why did you stop doing it if it was working? Like the paid discovery bit?" And I didn't really have a good answer for them.
Because people don't like it.
Do they not? But the clients that we liked working with did like it. The majority of people don't.
No, I don't think they did.
Mm.
I think people don't like it if you say to them, I think this is a medium range project. It's going to be between £7,500 and £12,000, and we'll do a discovery session at the start. And they don't know what they're getting. So it almost says
they do at the end of the discovery session.
Yeah, but then if it becomes clear that actually after the discovery session, what we need is actually £20,000, what do they do then? Do they just
reduce the
stop?
scope?
And in which case they've paid for this thing. That's what they don't like, and I get that.
But no one's ever said that to us, have they?
Yeah, we've had a few. We've had a few that didn't move forward after a discovery session. Certainly one I can think of.
Yeah,
it's been a while ago now, but yeah. This thing's a hard sell. It's a hard sell to say, because the best option is to say, as Mark suggested, we think it's going to be this sort of price, etc., and this is what you're going to get for that, or what's included. But we'll have a discovery session that costs X, and then we'll get everything finalized for you, and we'll work it out. Yeah. And they don't really want to do it because they don't really know how much it's going to cost them, and I get that. And they have to pay to get the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. But if I'm just trying to think of other professions where it would seem totally reasonable. I don't know. I always think of architecture and building work. I think
I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. I think it is, in an ideal world, the right thing to do. And maybe it's just we've got to sell it better, that it's the right thing, and why.
Sold it badly. I really don't think we sold it badly. Know. Yeah, we maybe missed out on a couple, but maybe those were good ones to miss out on. I maybe the people that don't like it are not the kind of people we want to work with.
So for this client that we've just had this call with, what do you propose would have been different then about the call? So instead of sending the proposal, would it have been just sending, it's going to be between this and this much, and then we'll have a discovery session to start with? Would you, at what point do you actually get them to pay something? Because we don't know the cost of the project yet. We've said it's going to be between this and this. So do you get them to pay half of the lower figure to get started? Do you get them to pay a one-off cost for the discovery session that's
what we used to do.
That's completely independent of the project?
Yeah, I think the discovery needs to be independent of the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a hard sell.
But we sold it. We sold them before.
Yeah. Not many, but I do. Yeah.
For big projects, we did.
If you'd have said to that client on whenever we could talk to them on Wednesday, right, we need to charge you £1,500 and we'll have a discovery session, and from there we'll give you a proposal of project and a fixed quote for it. I don't know. Maybe they'd be thinking, what a great idea. But my gut instinct is that it would be like, oh, okay, we've already got offers on the table for prices of X, Y, and Z. I don't think you'd win it. I really don't. But who knows? I might be wrong. What do you guys think?
I keep coming back to the fact that we did win them. We did do a few of these back in the day, and they were good. And you nearly always win the work afterwards. But yeah, interesting. There's just so many approaches to this. There's.
Mark says they pay to get a detailed concept document from an experienced professional for what they need for their communications requirements. Agreed. Elliot says, I tend to figure out what the job is worth to the client and then charge 20% of that as an ongoing review annually.
So what it's worth to the client?
So you quote what is worth to the client, not what you think it'll take you, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So sorry, that's Elliot, just if you could clarify that, is that something you charge? Ongoing review, like a review, like you almost do a discovery session every year for 20% of the project cost or the project value to the client. But I'm interested in that.
And then Mark follows up and says, then hopefully that leads into the design and development stage of the project. This usually works well if the client needs me to work with them to develop the idea of what they need.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we said. I think a lot of these, in my head, a lot of these things work in theory, but not in practice. You know, everyone always says, ask the client what the budget is. If they don't say what the budget is, you just don't want to work with them because they have no idea. Most of the people we speak to don't know or won't tell us what the budget is. So what do? Just walk away?
But if we had more inquiries, then you could walk away from more. I think we've got such a small sample size, and we don't want to turn stuff away because we don't get a lot of inquiries. I think that's part of this conversation as well.
So that budget came up in the call on Wednesday. He didn't tell us the budget. He actually brought up the budget and said, you know, what about budgets and so on. He didn't tell us the budget. He didn't tell us a range of budget.
We didn't ask for it.
No, but he brought the thing up. So why wouldn't he? If he had one, why wouldn't he tell us? Because presuming that when we ask the question, they think, oh, what a great question. What a brilliant idea. Let's answer the question. He's brought it up, but he didn't tell us the budget. So at that point, do we just say, oh, well, we can't work with you because you don't tell us your budget?
You could. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But like I say, you could do that if you're getting an inquiry a day, 5 inquiries a day, and you need to filter through them. So one of the ways to filter through them is the ones that don't tell you your budget. The conversation ends right there. But we can't do that because we're getting an inquiry a month.
Yeah.
You know, we're such low volume that we can't do that. So yeah, you could. You could, and it would probably be a really good way to filter people, because I feel like when people do have a budget, they're better projects, because it tends to be people that understand and that have money set aside, rather than like this feeling like the money is assigned for a web project. So we've got 30 grand to spend. Is very different to someone crossing their fingers, hoping this isn't going to cost too much, and then you come in with like a big number and they're like, oh my God, no. Those are two very, very different experiences. And like, if you had enough inquiries coming in, you'd just be like, I want A, not B.
Yeah. In an ideal world, like I said, in an ideal world, but we're not in that world. So it's, Mark just said at the end there, let me put that on the screen. If the client doesn't know what their budget is, then that's why giving them a ballpark figure lets them know if it's too expensive or not.
Yeah. And I did give a ballpark figure, and there was a slight raised eyebrow.
Yes.
So I think we got some intel there from that. Elliot just clarified what he was talking about earlier. So he says, so if the client is going to make 50K from the project, 20% equals 10K, and then ongoing review annually. So what I think Elliot is saying is that he charges the client 10K a year.
How do you, Elliot? How do you know that the client's going to make 50K from it, and how do they know?
Yeah, that the whole value-based conversation thing, we've kind of moved away from it again, haven't we? Because it was just too painful. I think it works for certain types of projects, and it might even work for this project, but it's
I get the value thing. I always come back to a story. I don't know where I read it, whether it was on social media or someone in a talk or something, and there's something about they made a really simple tool for a company, and I think it was something like it was automatically generating PDFs instead of someone manually having to sort of like log into a system, click this, download a zip file, extract a zip file, attach it to an email and send it. So it was literally a tool that saved the customer 15 minutes for a task that they were doing loads of times, and they charged like $1,000 for it. And it actually saved that company, like in the length of the time they used the solution, it would have saved the company like millions. Yet they only charged £1,000 for it. And I get that, because when you think about it that way, the company would have paid $100,000 for it in theory, because it saved them so much money. So that's where I get value pricing. But rarely does it seem to work or make sense to the customers. I don't know.
I also think that value pricing, it doesn't happen in a bubble. Like, you're not the only person pitching for this. So you could say, this is going to save you millions, so give me 10 grand. But if the rest of the market is going to quote 2 grand, you're not going to win the work.
Yeah, exactly.
So value pricing for me becomes a bit ridiculous at that point. Like, if you're picking, like, I was such a huge proponent of it until I tried to implement it, and I was just like, it's not really that practical. I get price anchoring. So that is like, this project is going to save you, £500,000 a year. Therefore, spending £50,000 on it with us is really not a big deal. It makes it look like an expensive project is actually like unbelievable value. So, like, for price anchoring, I think it makes sense. But then you're also anchoring that for all your competitors at the same time. So even that, I don't know. Yeah,
I was going to say, if you come in and say, well, this project's going to save you £500,000, I'm going to charge you 50,000 for it. Like you said, you're not operating in a bubble. So other competitors that are also quoting for it might come in and be charging £30,000 for it, or £15,000, in which case yours looks expensive.
Yeah, unless you're offering way more, and then I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you're not. You're offering the solution. So in that instance, it's literally, you're building something that's going to save £500,000. Therefore, you're building something very specific to do a specific job that's going to do the job to save £500,000. So presumably, all the people quoting for it are quoting for the exact same thing. Maybe they go about it slightly differently, but essentially, it's the same thing. So if you're saying, well, mine's dead cheap because I'm going to charge you 50 grand for it, you're going to save £450,000 in the first year. It's not cheap when someone else charges 10 grand for it.
Exactly.
And you don't know that.
Yeah. Pricing, eh?
Pricing.
After all these years, and we still haven't figured it out. We know it's a bit of gut feel, isn't it, at the minute for us? It's just like, we think it'll take approximately X number of weeks, and feels like this number is sort of just about right,
Yeah,
it's really no more than that. Like the way we priced this last one, we really did just pull that number out of nowhere. Like, it wasn't based on, we didn't even write down how many days we thought it was going to take. We're just like, this sounds about right. Let's go for it.
But we do have experience now. Like, so when I'm quoting for things like we did with this, it feels like it's a bit of a number pulled out of the air, but you'll be the same. I'm sure people listening will be the same. I'm thinking, well, this sounds like that project, and the quote, the stuff they want is pretty much like that project. So, what did we charge for that project? How long did it actually take? Oh, that project went a lot better than we thought it was. That one was a bit, and so on. So it's not plucked out of the air, but it's not. We didn't sit with a spreadsheet and say, right, we've got to do this and this and this, and this is going to take this long, and so on. So no. But it's not just a complete, finger in the air and guess. There is some method to the madness, put it that way.
I agree. Yeah, very good. All right, that sounds like a good place to wrap things up. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you, Elliot and Mark and Paul, was it, at the very start, for your comments. And it's always great. Please do give us a like, subscribe either on YouTube or your podcast player of choice. And we will be back again. Are we back again next week? I think we're back again next week with another show.
We'll do it best anyway. We'll do it best.
We'll see you then. Thanks, guys.
See you then.
Bye.